All right. Wow. Welcome to the CalvinJDean Show. This is our special Saturday afternoon fantasy football. Man, I mean, all you fantasy football lovers, you best listen to the show because I have a show for you. I'm going to give you guys some sleepers. And let's just go dive right into it, guys. Right into it. There's a fantasy football sleeper. He's a quarterback, right? Yes, it's Jordan Love. Now, mind you, we didn't expect Jordan Love to be the next Aaron Rodgers, did we? But hey, heard you about Aaron Rodgers last night. He was on the McAfee show, and he was talking about how he plans on coming back this year. And it's possible, guys. Cam Akers, remember he tore his Achilles tendon, just like Aaron did. Right in the beginning of the season, he came back to play in the Super Bowl that year. And he won. I mean, it's just, wow. I mean, I cannot believe. And Aaron Rodgers is in full belief that he is capable and he will return this year for a playoff run. Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. Great news. I hope I'm not being pessimistic. I want to be optimistic. I hope he is right. I hope for Jet fans, my brother Brian Watson, my buddy Brian Watson, and my brother's a huge Jet fan. I hope for those guys, for their sake, that he definitely becomes. Gets into the playoffs and he actually can play. That'd be awesome. We'll see. Okay, guys, let's get to fantasy football. I have a couple, actually a few sleepers for week 2, guys. Week 2, few sleepers. The first sleeper I have is Jordan Love. Yes, Jordan Love. I was just talking about him. We can't compare him to an Aaron Rodgers, right? But, he scored more fantasy points in his first game than Rodgers did in his first game. Can you believe that? I mean, and he showed that he could be a credible fantasy threat. He really could. And a real-life quarterback option as well. I mean, he looked all the part, man. I mean, he really looked good. Now, mind you, you can't dismiss his effort. I mean, he did have a play against a shaky Bears defense. But on film, guys, Love definitely looked strong. I mean, he really looked strong. Now, he gets a slightly tougher test this year in the Falcons. I mean, they beefed up that defense, and, especially in the secondary. Jesse Bates, had 2 interceptions and a forced fumble. Jesse Bates, what a great acquisition that was from the Falcons, man. I mean, it proved to be the winning mechanism to beat the Carolina Panthers last week, didn't it? I mean, it was pretty good, guys. It was pretty good, But now, Bryce Young is going to be facing the Green Bay Packers defense, mind you, and they're going to be at home. But the new Green Bay offense won't remind you of past Packers powerhouses. Not at all. But guess who returns this weekend? Christian Watson. Now, mind you, Romeo Doubs has been lighting it up with Jordan Love. I mean, I think they have a connection. Well, I can't wait to see Christian Watson step in and see how that goes. But I really believe that Jordan Love is a sleeper. So if you have him on your team this week, start Jordan Love, guys. Start him. He's a great option. My next sleeper, believe it or not, now he's playing the Miami Dolphins, Mac Jones. Wow. Did I just say Mac Jones? But Mac Jones might be turning into a legitimate fantasy option this year. He might be. I'm telling you something. Dating to last season, the Patriots signal caller had enjoyed 4 straight games with at least 2 touchdown passes each of those 4 games. All right. Now, on Sunday, he logged his first career game with 300 plus yards, 3 passing scores. I mean, Bill O'Brien's return to Foxborough is already paying off for the Patriots, isn't it? I mean, I'm telling you something. Mac Jones is one of those sleepers that do not, if you have him on your team, I'd play him. I play him against the Dolphins. Yes, I would definitely play him. I think he's definitely going to light it up. Miami didn't allow a ton of yards to Justin Herbert last week, but the Bolts were able to do a lot of work in intermediate part of the field, okay? Now, and plus they ran the ball, too, really well against Miami. So, and hello, I mean, Stevenson's going to have a huge game. Miami, I predicted this game. This is one of my upsets. I had 3 upsets I called this weekend, and this is one of my upsets. I think New England's going to beat Miami in New England and give it up to Mac Jones, guys. I would start him. My other sleeper quarterback, believe it or not, guys, don't throw stones at me on this one, Baker Mayfield. Wow. I mean, he already is lighting it up with Mike Evans. Baker targeted the big man 10 times and connected with him on a deep touchdown pass. I'm telling you something, Baker, he's not that bad, and they're playing the Bears defense, guys. The Bears defense surrendered 23 fantasy points to Jordan Love first weekend. And just think about this one. It's in Tampa Bay. And I expect him to feed Evans and Chris Godwin plenty this weekend. If you have Baker Mayfield, believe it or not, I would start him. That is a great sleeper choice. That's for sure. Those are the 3 quarterbacks that are sleepers this weekend. Second weekend is Jordan Love, Mac Jones, and Baker Mayfield. Wow. That's definitely a 3 great sleepers. Okay, running backs. Now, we have Kyren Williams of the Los Angeles Rams. Wow. For anyone who's paying attention, it wasn't a shock that Williams got a lot of works in the Rams passing game last week. I mean, he was heavily targeted. He ran the same number of routes as tight end Tyler Higbee. What caught us off guard, okay, was just how much he contributed to the running game. Williams, 38% of the rushing attempts, right, compared to 56% of Cam Akers. And what somewhat misleading, since many of Akers' carries came in late of the Rams pulling away from Seattle, right? So, who's starting in this game, But the only thing, there's a huge but to this, guys. It's in SoFi Stadium, okay? But guess what they're playing? They're playing the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers defense is they're good. They're just not good. They're great. I mean, great. They are the number 1 defense in the league. I have the Niners going all the way to the Super Bowl this year. I really do. I think Brock Purdy is like the next Montana. I really do believe that. I honestly believe Brock Purdy is going to be the next Montana. I think he has that in him, that he'll want to take a contract, and he'll want to keep everyone on the team. He'll want to win. Watch out for Brock Purdy, guys, and the San Francisco 49ers this year. They're going all the way. They're going to the Super Bowl, and it's up for grabs who are going to be playing him. I thought it would be the New York Jets in the Super Bowl this year until Rodgers went down, but now Rodgers saying he might be back. If the New York Jets can actually play well. Now, they're playing the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas this weekend. I'm calling Dallas to win this game. Dallas has an 8.5 point morning line favorite. 8.5 points. They're not going to make that 8.5 points. I'm telling you something. It's going to be a very, very close game. There's no way the Dallas Cowboys are going to beat the New York Jets by that much. There's just no way. I'm sorry. There's just no way with that defense. And the Dallas Cowboy defense is going to be a defensive battle. I think it's going to be like a 9-6 game, 12-9 game, something like that. Someone's going to throw an interception. There might be a touchdown or two, but I know it's going to be a low-scoring game. And I think Dallas will pull it out at the end. But be careful. Be careful, guys. Be careful. Those points, with the 8.5 points, I take the Jets in a heartbeat. That's for sure. We have their next deep sleeper. This is my deep sleeper, guys. The deep, deep, deep sleeper. I know. My deep sleeper is Rashid White of the Tampa Bay Bucks, playing the Bears, right? And I think Chris Godwin and Mike Evans will see a lot of targets, but that doesn't mean there isn't room for someone else in the Bucks offense. Last week, White saw a lot of volume, but wasn't particularly efficient. I've never really liked Rashid White. I never really liked him, but I'm telling you something, playing the Bears, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch out. The Bears aren't that good. White isn't likely to give you 80 plus receiving yards, but he is a player in Tampa that I like. He will be involved in the offense and in the passing game. There's every week this is going to happen. White's floor is his low end RB3 or a flex in deeper leagues. That's what my deep sleeper is. Now, when you get to wideouts, believe it or not, Elijah Moore. Yeah, Elijah Moore. Moore's fantasy numbers weren't great in week one. They just weren't. Well, no one was really great. I mean, it was pouring out. It was a terrible field. I predicted the Cleveland Browns to upset the Cincinnati Bengals, which they did. And that was my huge upset. My lock of the week last week was San Francisco over the Pittsburgh Steelers. I just couldn't believe that all those analysts before the game were calling the Steelers. I was like, well, are you guys crazy? They're talking about preseason, and this isn't preseason. It's a different thing. And man, you were playing the number one defense, and you found out, Pickett's definitely found out who the number one defense was and what it's like to play against one. And he just looked off. But this week, the Steelers are playing the Browns. Browns are favored by 2 points. I gave this one up to the Steelers on an upset at home. I think Pittsburgh's going to bounce back this weekend, and their rush is going to get to Deshaun Watson. I really believe the Steelers are going to pull it out this weekend. Casey, my loving nephew Casey's a huge Pittsburgh Steeler fan, and honey, you will win this weekend. I can guarantee you, that's for sure. But Elijah Moore, I think he's a great WR2, and I think he was heavily involved in running routes and earning targets at a high rate. Validating chatter that he could occupy Deebo Samuel's-like role in Cleveland offense. So that's what they're saying. So that would be kind of cool, right? But I think he's more of like a Brandon Ayuk. He has that kind of trait. But, if you have Elijah Moore, I think you should start him this week. I mean, really, I think you should start him. That's a big sleeper. My next sleeper would be Tylon Burks, yes, on the Titans. Now, mind you, Ryan Tannehill just looked horrendous last week. I mean, he was just terrible. I mean, just, oh my God. But I'm telling you something, Burks' overall fantasy look took a hit when DeAndre Hopkins landed into Music Town City, right? Didn't he? I mean, being the second target option in a low passing volume, run-heavy offense isn't a recipe to prosperity, that's for sure, man. That's for sure. It gets worse when the factor is how poorly Ryan Tannehill played last week. But I think Tannehill's going to bounce back this week. I really do. They're playing the Chargers. Chargers got lit up last week by Miami. They couldn't do anything. And the Chargers, I think the Tennessee Titans are going to play the Chargers tough. I think it's going to be a tough game. They have a good defense as well, Tennessee. So I think it's going to be a tough game. I know the Chargers are going to pull it out. This is my lock of the week, is the Chargers over the Titans. But, I would definitely, if you have him, Burks, I think he's going to be one of those sleepers, the deep sleepers. Jaden Reed of the Green Bay Packers. Love didn't give his receivers a lot of work last week. He just didn't. He was throwing to his wideouts like rookie Jaden Reed. He only had one target. Reed led all the Packer wideouts with 48 yards on 5 opportunities. He received 5 opportunities, 48 yards. Most importantly, Randall Cobb's second departure from Green Bay created a vacancy in this slot, a weak spot for the Falcons secondary, that's for sure. Now, that would be a great option because, you're going to have Bates taking Watson or Romeo Doubs, right? And then it's going to lead Jalen Reed open underneath that slot receiver. He's definitely a sleeper this weekend. Definitely a sleeper. We have some tight ends that are sleepers. I think Cole Kmet is a definite sleeper this weekend. He's probably noticed that the tight end position was variable disaster in week 1, that's for sure. Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews were out. Darren Waller and George Kittle struggled. Dallas Goedert gained, unfortunately, a power and invisibility. He was just invisible, right? We're optimistic of that things could get better this week, that's for sure. And I think that enter Cole Kmet, right? I think Cole Kmet will have a great game. Justin Fields he's got to have that offensive line has to block for him. Just has to block for him, that's for sure, So we have to understand is that, it's all about Justin Fields, right? And he's needing to find his rhythm, right? And if he finds his rhythm, I think that Cole Kmet's going to be open in the end zone a couple times. I think that's a great sleeper pick. What about Logan Thomas? That's another one I'm thinking. Logan Thomas is that cardio king. He's often regulated to running routes with a few targets to show for it, right? But the thing of it is, with Sam Howell threw 8 balls in his direction last week. 8 balls. Okay, caught 4 of them for 43 yards. This is awesome. And the thing is with Logan, he's one of those guys. He's like, he reminds me of a Waller. He's either on fire or not. And I think this week the Commanders face a Broncos defense that hasn't been very inviting to opposing passing games. With secondaries locking down McLaurin and Jalen Dotson, Howell could easily have an option to Thomas. And I think that's what's going to happen this weekend. I think Thomas is going to see a lot of targets this weekend. The defenses, I think the defense for the Denver defense is definitely going to really shine. The debut of Eric Bieniemy's offense in Washington was not so great. Sam Howell was constantly under pressure, sacked 6 times. Wow. Commanders didn't get much from 2 top weapons in his passing game. At plotting 3-yard per carry, Brian Robinson was the most productive runner in an inefficient ground game. That's for sure, guys. And wow, and they're going into Denver. And I'm telling you something, Denver, I'm giving up to Denver on this one as a win over Washington. But I would definitely play the Denver defense. Maybe a Cleveland defense over Pittsburgh Steelers, but I would rather play the Pittsburgh Steelers defense over Cleveland Browns this weekend. I really do. I think Pittsburgh is definitely going to step up, and they're going to definitely, win and step up their defense for sure. Guys, I just gave you some sleepers. Think about it. Play them. I wish you guys all the luck in the world. My team, I have 60. Yes, 60 teams. 60 teams. Yeah, I'm pretty sick. That's for sure. My one team that I have, which is great. I have Haybear starting. I have Cam Akers, and I have Kelly because Eckler's going to be out this weekend. So Kelly's going to take, and he looked great last week too. I like Kelly. Stephon Diggs against Las Vegas. He's going to have a huge game. I have him on my team. I have Nyoko as my tight end. I have Brandon Ayuk, who went off last week. And I have McLaurin McLaughlin as my kicker. I did have this Eagles defense, and I had A. Brown as my wide receiver. He only scored like 7 points, and the defense scored 9. So I'm on an uphill battle. I usually have on my team, I have Aaron Jones, but he's not going to start, right? I do have Mike Evans on my team. I do have Bryce Young. I have Tyler Algier. Now, I'm telling you something. Algier is really, really good. He won the rookie rushing title last year, and he beat all the other rookies from all the other years. Exciting. I mean, I do have, like I said, I have 60 teams, and I love playing fantasy football. I'm really into it. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to fantasy football. So, I mean, I'm kind of crazy when it comes to this stuff. I really love mixing and matching different players. I do believe that this week is going to be a Mahomes-style week. And, I have my one team has already scored 24 points. I have Justin Jefferson. I was the first pick. And my team, check this team out. This is a great team. I have Tua as my quarterback. I have Mozart as my running back. I have Sanders. He's an iffy. But I do have St. Brown. I have Jefferson. I have Kyle Pitts. I'm not a big Kyle Pitts fan, but he just fell into my lap. I do have Garrett Wilson. Awesome wide receiver. Justin Tucker, the Chiefs defense. I do have Brock Purdy sitting the bench. I have Deshaun Watson sitting the bench. I have Edwards, the running back over at Baltimore. I do have Aaron Jones. I have D. Johnson, which I put on, I guess he's not on IR yet, but oh well. But, I do have, I'm really into this stuff. I have another Yahoo League. Let me see my Yahoo League. I have this one team, Winona Rider team. It's that's the league, right? Winona Rider. I can say that. I have Patrick Mahomes starting, Garrett Wilson starting, Calvin Ridley. Man, talk about a great pick. Calvin Ridley's going to be all over the field this weekend. All over the field. It's going to be a high-scoring game, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Jacksonville Jags. It's going to be the best game of the weekend, guys. Best game of the weekend. Make sure to watch that. I have Saquon Barkley, guys. Saquon Barkley starting against Arizona. He's going to have a huge game. Giants are going to bounce back. Then I have Walker the Third. Oh my God, Walker the Third. Oh man, playing against Detroit. In Detroit, I think he'll do well. But I think Detroit's going to win that game. Then I have George Kittle playing in SoFi Stadium against the Los Angeles Rams. Watch this. I mean, they had Ayuk. They had Mr. Just all those amazing wideouts and tight ends and everything. Christian McCaffrey was just lights out last week. Purdy is just too good, man. He's just too good. But I think George Kittle's going to step it up this weekend. I'm thinking he'll have a couple TDs. Really do. And I have Montgomery from the Lions. I mean, he was a Bear, now he's a Lion, and I have starting him. And then this league is kind of a fun league. You could get to even start 2 quarterbacks. So I have Jared Goff on my other quarterback. I did have Addison. I didn't start him. He was on my bench. He scored like 14, almost 15 points. I have Zay Flowers. I have Edwards. I have D. Moore from the Bears. Watson from the Green Bay Packers, and Rice from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a sleeper too, Mr. Rice is. I have Lutz, and then I have Pittsburgh Steelers as my team, my defense. But anyway, as you can see, I do know my stuff. Follow the sleepers that I just gave you this weekend, and you guys have a great Sunday. Okay, guys, see you next Saturday. CalvinJDean out. Yeah.